What you hear is what you feel.
Welcome to another edition or episode
Of Lyrical Irical.
Hello, Paz. Hello, listeners.
Hello, John.
Episode 5, isn't it? Well, technically,
apart from the one you lost.
Technically, episode 6. That was just a pilot episode, you know. It's in the vault somewhere, in the vault of the metaverse.
Silly, that's why he deleted it.
Yeah, it wasn't me that deleted it. It was a passing person who shan't be named. Someone unplugged my laptop when it was unsaved. Well, that's a long story. We'll go into it another time. It wasn't unsaved by me. We'd done an edit, hadn't we? I was showing you how to do some editing, and then I did undo, and I forgot to restore the file after the undo, and then somebody closed my laptop down and saved my work because they thought I would want it saved, but because I'd made the change and then edited it and hadn't put the edit back on again, we lost all of our pilot episode, which was actually, we might go back and revisit it for like the 100th episode or something. It was Paranoid Android by Radiohead, wasn't it? So quite a deep one to start on before we settled into our groove with the current format. We just did one song, didn't we, on the pilot? So
did we? I can't remember.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We just did one. We did Paranoid Android, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you never know your luck, listeners. We might go back and revisit that one, but it holds many dark memories for me after losing the file and having to look Paz in the eyes and say, "Paz, I've lost it."
He's lost it in more ways than one.
I've lost it. Now, before we go into episode 5 in more ambition, Paz has got some feedback from a listener.
I have.
I don't know what this is all about. Paz is smirking like a Cheshire cat, so I imagine it slates me or denigrates me in some way.
Don't
so
worry.
we'll go into it now.
There's no mention of John, and that's probably a good thing.
Okay, so are you ready for this? This is real listener feedback.
Listener feedback, and it's from Richard.
Short for...
Huh? What's short for?
Dick is short for Richard, isn't it? So if he's a dick, we can...
It's not
We'll wait and see what he says before we call him a dick, won't we? Come on.
That's not very nice.
Come on then, Dick.
Says,
what have you got, Dickie?
To Lyrical Irical. And then you've gone and spoilt it by saying... Because he actually says... Richard actually said, I'm a dickhead. With an exclamation mark. To Lyrical Irical. And the reason I bring that up is that is wordplay. He is Richard Head.
He's not, is he? And I've ruined it.
I made it up, but don't worry, you've spoiled the thing. I just wanted to give some wordplay for our listeners and then start the show. And that was spoiled.
God, we'll have to
well done, John. Well done.
We'll have to have a production meeting from now on to stop this nonsense getting onto air. What are you on about, man? Richard Head, was it? Oh dear.
Richard Head. He's addicted, but I actually read it wrong because it's a dickhead.
A dickhead.
There we go.
I actually did my work experience for an electrician called Robin Head, and his father's name was Richard Head. True story. So I never forget.
Shout out to all the Richard Heads.
Yeah. So there are some Richard Heads out there. So, have you got any real fan? No, it's just a made-up gag, was it?
It was a made-up gag that went wrong.
Okay, that will never make it past the production meeting in future. So, I guess we should get on with the episode then, now that's crashed and burned.
Go on.
So I just leave a load of awkward silences so you can stew on your misplaced...
The generator.
Gag there. Yes, so let's fire up the random generator. So, if you'd like to give your fingers a whirl...
What song will we get?
What have we got? Bring it up. From March 1975. It was in the UK charts for 11 weeks. It only reached number 28. Okay. So I'm not sure why it's on this list of 500, great songs of all time, but it might be a classic. I'm sure it is. I've heard of it. That's why it's well thought of by other people. Maybe they've done... other people have done cover versions of it, or maybe it's been in a film and then it had like a second, coming as a popular song. It's actually by David Bowie, Young Americans. Have you ever heard it?
I don't know.
I don't know either. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? In 1975, Bowie traded his glammed-out Ziggy Stardust persona for an exploration of what he called plastic soul. Yet this R&B homage, you might like it, it's R&B, is one of his warmest, wildest tales, recorded in Philadelphia with a then unknown Luther Vandross on backing vocals and David Sanborn on sax. And I'm not going to read the next bit because it tells us what the song's about. So are you ready out there, everybody? So you want to go to YouTube and you want to prime up David Bowie, Young Americans. So we will speak to you on the other side after we've heard that song and Mr. Bowie himself. This is David Bowie, Young Americans, as if to reiterate the third time.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Young Americans by David Bowie, released in February 1975 on his album Young Americans. No, hang on, that's the name of the single. When was it on? What album was it on? Maybe it wasn't. Oh, from the album. It was from the album Young Americans. So this stylistic change that he did, R&B, did they say? He sort of made a whole album of R&B music. I guess he was working with young R&B artists in America at the time. What did you make of that one then, Paz?
Personally, didn't like it. I mean, the chorus is all right, but that's about...
Yeah, it's all right,
yeah, we'll go through the lyrics and...
Yeah,
just sounded dodgy to me.
Yeah, so we thought it was another Joan Jett ode, didn't we? Or R. Kelly, who started off a bit risque, didn't it? So the first verse is, they pulled in just behind the bridge. He lays her down, he frowns. Gee, my life's a funny thing, am I still too young? He kissed her then and there, she took his ring, took his babies.
Exactly,
It took him minutes, took her nowhere. Heaven knows she'd have taken anything but. All night she wants a young American, young American, young American. She wants a young American all night, but she wants the young American. I thought it was like the other side of the story to the Joan Jett song from was it the last episode or the one before?
She wants a young American.
Yeah.
But as it says, took him minutes, took her nowhere. So surely that's already disappointed.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you would pull him behind the bridge, lay her down and frown at her. I mean,
treat him mean, keep him keen, Paz. Treat him mean, keep him keen.
Treat him mean, and then he's like, "Oh, my life's funny. Am I still too young? How old is this guy?"
Well, it
10?
Sounds like he's taken her. Well, he's driving, isn't he? So we know he's at least 17, don't we? Or she driving?
She could
They
be
pulled
driving.
in, yeah.
Exactly. He could be 12 years old for all we know. And then he's kissed her, and I don't know why she's taken his ring. It's they must have bought some equipment with him, and then she took his babies, which we know what that means.
Yeah, that's quite a clever lyric, actually.
But he took her nowhere. So
it's about losing his virginity, isn't it?
Yeah.
Basically, that first verse to an older lady will establish that.
Mm-hmm.
So we go on to the second verse. Scanning life through the picture window, she finds the slinky vagabond. He coughs as he passes her Ford Mustang, but heaven forbid she'll take anything but the freak and his type, all for nothing. Misses a step and cuts his hand, but showing nothing, he swoops like a song. She cries, where have all Papa's heroes gone?
Well, I'm guessing because she's saying that's probably quoted from something, I'm not sure where. Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, there's bits in there that, I mean, he coughs. What's that got to do with anything? It goes on how she basically would go with anyone, but the freak and his type, all for nothing. I don't know what's going on here. He's cut his hand somehow, and I don't know why. And if he's young, all Papa's heroes are going to be old, aren't they?
I think what he's getting at here is that, in the first verse where he said that it didn't mean anything to her, but it mean everything to him. He's lost his virginity to her, and she probably forgot about it the next day. I think he probably saw her around and she couldn't remember him, maybe. Yeah, either that, either stalker or she couldn't remember him kind of thing, and he was upset that it meant everything to him and nothing to her. And then the chorus is repeated all night. She wants the young American, young American, young American. She wants the young American, all right. But instead of saying, but she wants the young American, Bowie goes with, well, she wants the young American. Then we got all the way from Washington, her breadwinner begs off the bathroom floor. We live for just these 20 years. Do we have to die for the 50 more? That's quite an interesting lyric there, isn't it? I
mean, that's probably the best bit. But again, that sounds like they're then together. But I don't understand why he's on the bathroom floor. Is he crying?
That's a
It
nice
sounds
lyric.
like they're splitting up, basically, or they're arguing.
Let's have a think about this. From the previous two verses, Paz.
Yeah.
All the way from Washington, her breadwinner begs off the bathroom floor. What could that mean, her breadwinner?
Well, the breadwinner is usually the one who's carrying the family, isn't it, type thing. But so that suggests that maybe they have had a kid. I don't know, but
it could be a drug reference, couldn't it? Like begs off the bathroom floor. And then the two next lines are really evocative, aren't they? We live for just these 20 years. Do we have to die for the 50 more? Blimey.
So that's probably the best bit.
That is good. That's a good lyric because you develop such a lot of your character and your personality in the first 20 years of your life, don't you? And then you spend the rest of your life trying to get away from experiences and first this, first that. And yeah, that's a really good lyric. I'll give him some credit for that. Then the lyric repeats all night. He wants the young American. He this time, yeah. He wants the young American all night. Well, he wants the young American.
From those bits from up to there, that sounds like, so as we've said, it starts off with him obsessing with her. She don't care. They then seem like they're together, and I think she's starting to turn around like she wants him, and now he no longer wants her and he wants someone else. That's how I'm getting.
Yeah, could be. Then we've got, do you remember your President Nixon? Ooh. That was in the lyrics, by the way. It's not just me getting excited and making an ooh sound. Do you remember the bills you have to pay? No ooh. Or even yesterday. Have you been the un-American? Ooh. Just you and your idol sing falsetto. Ooh. Bout leather everywhere, not a myth left from the ghetto. Well, would you carry a razor just in case of depression? Sit on your hands on a bus of survivors, blush at all the Afro sheeners. Ain't that close to love? Well, ain't that poster love? Well, ain't that Barbie doll? Her hearts have been broken just like you, and all night you want the young American. And then we got the chorus again. Any thoughts on that verse and where it takes the story of the song, Paz?
Well, that sounds like then he's then talking to Americans, but it sounds like he's particularly talking to the black Americans in the sense of ghetto, Afro, etc. I'm not sure why, to be honest. It maybe because he was aiming it at R&B crowd, and that's how he saw it. I don't know. I don't. It seems a bit strange. It goes a bit weird, doesn't it?
Do you think the reference to razor is to do with cocaine or to do with slitting your wrists?
Well, it says just in case of depression, but I mean,
but that could be either, couldn't it? It could mean slitting your wrists, or it could mean having a line to chase away the temporary pains.
But it does say at the end, her hearts have been broken, just like you.
Which is why she was just disconnected toward him in the previous song. She's just trying to sleep her way to happiness as a form of drug,
trying
maybe.
To bring it together.
Yeah. Okay, then we've got, you ain't a pimp and you ain't a hustler. A pimp's got a caddy and a lady got a Chrysler. Black's got respect and white's got his soul train. Mama's got cramps and look at your hands ache. I heard the news today, oh boy. Let's pause on that line for a moment there, because that is going to be pertinent in a minute when I read out what the song's about. Okay. That might be from another song, of course, Paz. Think about that. I heard the news today, oh boy. There's a little spoiler for you. I got a sweet and you got defeat. Ain't there a man who can say no more? And ain't there a woman I can sock on the jaw? And ain't there a child I can hold without judging? Ain't there a pen that will write before they die? Ain't you proud that you still got faces? Ain't there one damn song that can make me break down and cry? And then we've got a load of choruses about the young American again.
Do you have any issues in America that you're aware of? Because it sounds like it's him trying to say, you lot are basically judging me, blah, blah, blah.
Well, yeah, it pertinently fits, actually, because it was David Bowie's first hit in America after trying for 10 years to break into the Billboard charts. So maybe he had a certain resentfulness towards America at the time because they weren't really into his music. And as I say, this was actually, funnily enough, if it was a song about him trying to come to terms with his lack of success in America or lack of connection with Americans, it was actually his first hit song in America, I can see from Wikipedia. So yes, well picked up there, Paz. Okay, so let's have a look at about what David Bowie says about the song then.
Right.
Okay, the first studio result of Bowie's mid-70s obsession with soul music, Young Americans, was a breakthrough for the artist in the United States. The sound was later described by Bowie as plastic soul and was matched by a cynical lyric making references to McCarthyisms, black repression via Rosa Parks, Richard Nixon, who resigned the US presidency 2 days before the recording session, and a near-direct lift from the Beatles song A Day in the Life, with the line, "I heard the news today, oh boy." John Lennon, who wrote that line, appeared on the Young Americans album on 2 tracks, providing guitar and backing vocals on his own Across the Universe and Fame, for which he also received a co-writing credit. The backing vocal arrangement was suggested by Luther Vandross. So it was a direct nod to the Beatles song Day in the Life. Bowie later said, "It's about a newlywed couple who don't know if they really like each other or not." That's quite an interesting take, actually, isn't it? Thinking about it, looking back at the lyrics now. So they've just got married and they don't know the wrong time to be having doubts about the relationship, isn't it? So it's quite an interesting, quite an interesting take on the song, actually. It's quite an interesting way to look at things, isn't it? After nearly a decade of attempts, this was Bowie's first top 40 hit in America, but would only reach number 18 in the UK singles chart. David Thompson of AllMusic calls the track a major stylistic change. Out went the glam and hard rock trappings of his previous releases. In came the plastic soul sound, which after 3 years of trying would finally break the singer in America. Cashbox, however, said that David places his voice against a very R&B orientated track with such a rock-solid foundation for his wall of sound, he feels secure, hurling his socially conscious lyrics around like so much graffiti. In 2018, the writers of NME in their list of Bowie's 41 greatest songs ranked Young Americans at number 4. There we go. Blimey. Oh, it's Bowie's greatest songs. I was going to say it's not their overall greatest songs. It didn't really bite me on the arse, I must admit, but I'm going to give you a bit of a spoiler here, Paz, and I've never listened to a David Bowie song and thought, that was good. Just nothing has ever bit me on the arse from any David Bowie song I've ever heard. Frustratingly, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. So I've never listened to a David Bowie song and thought, oh, that's good, or it's harmless enough, you know.
I didn't find anything special about it.
This is one of those songs, I think, which we discussed on one of the previous episodes, where they've written the lyrics first and they've kind of shoehorned them into the music. It doesn't really flow all that well. That's one thing. One issue I have with David Bowie songs, actually, they don't tend to flow. There's no kind of recurring melodies, and he doesn't seem to stick to any themes traditionally. Maybe that's why people like him. I don't know. It's just art for art's sake sometimes for David Bowie. But hell, we need people like David Bowie in the world, don't we, to push boundaries and try different things. So all the luck to him in the world.
Well, he's not around anymore, is he?
He's not around anymore, is he?
So good luck, mate.
Yeah, good luck wherever you are, Mr. Bowie. Okay, so that brings us on to our second song of the week. Paz, would you like to fire up the random song generator?
I don't think we're going to do it this time, are we?
No, we're not.
We're going to do a first.
Could this not have been in the production meeting, which we didn't have? What are we doing next?
We're going to do a first. The listeners are actually going to be able to hear this track.
Okay, sounds interesting.
Because I created it.
You, Paz Mondo, the Pazmeister General.
I created the music and the lyrics.
Okay.
And we'll put links to my channels and also the link to the actual track with the lyrics on it if you want to listen to it as well.
And where is the lyric videos? On YouTube, is it?
It's on YouTube.
This obviously goes out on Spotify and YouTube, so we'll put all the links to the socials if you want to check out Paz's song again, but obviously you can hear it by listening back to this podcast.
Yep.
So when did you write this song? Is it a recent one then, Paz? Or?
Well, let's say I posted it or put it up, uploaded it in September this year.
Hot off the press.
Yeah.
Any memories of creating the music at the time? What was your spark of inspiration behind the music? Or should we talk about that more after we've heard?
I'll tell you what, I won't say anything because I obviously wrote it and I'll be biased.
So it's all down to me.
You can tell me what you think about it musically and lyrically, and then, that'll be it.
Okay, so this song, we're not yet, for the first time ever, you're not going to get Paz's weird voiceover saying, "This song cannot be listened to for copyright purposes."
Exactly.
So can you do a new voiceover for this one saying that we can listen to this song for copyright purposes based on your original
I can't remember what it was, but let's just say this song can be heard. There is no copyright in the sense of you can't not listen to it.
Imagine
you can listen to it.
Imagine if we got a struck off for like
It is
plan our own
copyright
song.
in the sense of I wrote it, so don't copy it.
Yeah, okay, gotcha, yeah, but we're not likely to get struck off by the algorithms because
There's no
we
one-
might do actually. Who knows?
Well, they can't because it's mine.
Let's see. Yeah, we might get. Well, they don't know that, do they? So they might strike us off in the meantime,
Let's
and then we
see.
have to go back and
We have
argue
to
the toss.
fight our corner.
Anyway, this is all pedantics. This is
Anyway.
for later. So this is Paz's song "Strapped." What's your artist name? Is it going out as Paz or?
No. That's Basilisk, aka Dark Soul.
I was talking over you there, so if you'd like to repeat,
Yes,
what's
I'll
it?
repeat that again. That's BADS, BADS.
Yeah.
Basilisk, aka Dark Soul. I had the name Basilisk before Harry Potter.
I didn't know it was in Harry Potter.
It was in Harry Potter
Oh, right.
because Basilisk was actually a legendary snake that killed with its stare. So I've had that since I was like 16, 15, whatever. Yeah, it was nothing to do with the films for those who like Harry Potter. I don't watch it. I didn't watch it, so I don't
Did you,
know.
after Harry Potter came out, did you decide? Did you have a little think about changing it, or did you think
No,
it
I
kind of
stay
fits
who
with
I
the
am.
theme? It
I
kind of
stay
fits
who
with the
I
theme.
am.
So this song is "Strapped" by the artist known as BADS.
That's it.
What's the snake bit?
Basilisk,
This-
aka Dark Soul.
This is the song "Strapped" by BADS. Basilisk.
aka Dark
I
Soul.
can't remember all that. Jesus, I can barely remember
Don't
my
have to
own name.
remember it. You can just listen
Right,
to it.
yeah,
I've
listen
told
to
you.
this song. Waffled on enough. Here it comes.
Here it is.
I'm beyond strong, I survived abortion. Never made to feel I belong, it was my misfortune. Of ancestral origin being my sin, I couldn't win. Everything I did or didn't blown out of proportion. I cried more tears than clouds in a tropical storm, with more heartbreaks than the souls we mourn. My world destroyed, more than demolished buildings torn. Looking into darkness of days before I was even born. Imagine being a child in a loving home yet wanting to die. Wondering why you were born like this, I wasn't shy. I was terrified I'd be hunted and killed, no lie. Not even in double digits, sick of life, why? When I did nothing but try live right, dark eyes, dark hair, olive skin, things I couldn't change like I bring. The target above my head, as I said I couldn't win. Before I died I tried writing a song and into life I spring. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. All the pain and hurt didn't disappear, but the blame and shame became crystal clear. My mind opened beyond the life I feared. My words became weapons I was preparing here. My world was changing, given a meaning. The world off my shoulders, no longer leaning. In music I'm a human being who's believing. It's become my life, it's where I leave you screaming. Beat you so bad you won't ever remember who beat you. Knocking you so far back you no longer exist too. Problem in my mind, you removed your who. When the shots hit deep, you won't make it through. Being negative is easy, the opposite is hard. To keep on living or life discard. You keep on giving but keep your guard. Be positive and strong, deal your own life's cards. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. When I pull the mic's head off, out pops a knife. When I spit into the mic, my life feels alright. My words combined with sound, bringing day to night. You heard mine, you're bound to see the light. We learn more from mistakes than when we get something right. When it comes to pricks, their parents made an oversight. That's being polite, the parents are family overhyped. In a world brainwashed and no longer tight. Can't stand the majority of social media bullshit. Don't care if that makes me antisocial, who'll quit? Ain't begging for approval from unknown's anonymous writ. Fuck followers, ask Batman, Robin was a dick. I'm kicking your eardrums through riding sound waves. Thinking this shit's dumb until your brain caves. Waving arms more than two deaf people arguing. What are you doing? Your cries, I put you in a grave. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life.
Crikey, I've been up against all sorts of animals, but I'd never go near BADS.
And that was Strapped by the artist BADS. Some snake thing.
Basilisk, aka
Basilisk.
Dark Soul.
That's it.
Just say BADS, it's easier, isn't
BADS,
it?
yeah. So does BADS stand for something, does it? Basilisk.
I've just told you.
As a Dark Soul.
aka Dark Soul.
Basilisk.
We can talk about it deeper another time if you want.
Yeah. Well, we can do it now as we're talking about it.
Oh, okay. I'll make it brief because it can go really deep.
Yep.
But in a brief way.
In Harry Potter.
But nothing to do with Harry Potter. Basilisk is a legendary snake that killed with its stare. Sorry.
Yeah. And in Harry Potter?
It's nothing to do with Harry Potter. And basically, a snake in life, people say a snake's someone who's devious, who goes behind people's backs and that. But my thing was like, it doesn't matter if you look how you look, but that doesn't make you, just because you're a snake doesn't mean you're a bad person. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I'm saying in that bit or not?
I don't understand what's that. That's got to do with Harry Potter, but
it's nothing to do with Harry Potter, mate. So anyway, there's that thing.
I am only pulling your
don't judge
leg.
someone by how they look.
Yes.
Type thing. It's a legendary snake. Legendary, wanted to be legendary in the sense of not for other people, but for myself.
Yeah.
In knowing that I'm a legend to myself, in the sense of I kept myself real to myself.
Yeah.
And AKA, also known as, but the reason I made it a word like that was because it shows that I don't have a one-dimensional personality.
Yeah.
So more than that. And then Dark Soul. Dark Soul was the kind of part of me that when I was going through bad times, as you can tell from this song, that's what got me through it. And that's how I started when I first started writing music and things. And soul is spelled S-O-L because there is no U in my soul. Thank you very much, everybody.
Drop the mic. Don't drop my mic, actually. Drop the pen instead. Yeah, don't drop. He didn't drop my mic. The listeners would be pleased to know. So there we have it. That was the song Strapped by BADS. So do you remember recording the music? There's a nice piano melody, a recurring piano melody in there, was it?
I created it all, but I'm not going to lie and say I remember every single bit of it. I just create it. I mean, I like going into my home studio and I'll just create something just off the top, and then I might end up doing something else, and then I'll go back to it, and then it's what feels right, and then obviously the words then follow with the music. So.
What software do you use?
I use Logic Pro X.
Oh, nice. And what was that piano? Is it an organ or a piano or
just a piano?
Just a piano, with a bit of a reverb on it.
I mess about with. I try and not use like stock sound, if that makes sense. I try to when I use those sounds, I then put stuff on it to try and make it a bit different. And
Okay. So I think this might be a good opportunity for, obviously, the theme of the podcast is lyric analysis, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So as it's one of our songs, maybe the listeners could give their interpretation of the song that you just listened to. So obviously you can put the comments on the YouTube, underneath the YouTube account, or there's a comment section on Spotify as well. Mm-hmm. So we look forward to getting some interpretations of the listeners into that song. We're not going to go through it line for line in front of you because that would be maybe a bit too emotionally raw for you, Paz.
I mean, that's fine if you want to do it. I'm up for it. I mean, I'd like to hear what you think about it all, and even if I don't give my interpretation, if that's the sense, that's fine.
Okay, let's do this then. If you want to read the lyrics out then, and then I'll give my... So this is the first verse.
Yeah, should I do it if I do it in fours, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
We'll see, we'll do that.
When does Harry Potter come in?
It's at the end.
Okay.
That was actually Steve Irwin at the end, if you weren't sure.
Okay, yeah.
The old crocodile hunter.
Crikey, mate.
Yeah, exactly. I'm beyond strong, I survived abortion. Never made to feel I belong, it was my misfortune. Of ancestral origin being my sin, I couldn't win. Everything I did or didn't, blown out of proportion.
Is that to do with your Italian ancestry, by any chance?
That is to do with my...
Yeah, I know you said you suffered a lot of racism at school
Yep.
with people misappropriating you as Asian, didn't you?
Asian was the main one I got, but I mean, over my period of my life, I have probably been called every type of nationality
Racial
under the
slur,
sun.
yeah.
On Earth, should I say.
Has anyone ever called you a limey bastard like I was called by those Americans that time?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think that's the least one I get called is English.
Add it to the list. Right, what we got on next then?
Right. I've cried more tears than clouds in a tropical storm.
Like it.
With more heartbreaks than the souls we mourn.
Like it.
My world destroyed more than demolished buildings torn. Looking into darkness of days before I was even born.
What's that line all about then?
So, in the sense of when it comes to racism, hate and stuff, before I was even born, it was here anyway. So, it's me seeing what was already going on before I was even born.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Type thing, yeah.
We move on.
Imagine being a child in a loving home, yet wanting to die. Wondering why you were born like this, I wasn't shy. I was terrified I'd be hunted and killed, no lie. Not even in double digits, sick of life, why?
Did you ever feel any kind of resentment towards your parents then just because you were born Italian? Is that...
No. I never blamed my parents ever. I always thought it's one of those things because of what I went through, why I was going through it, what I didn't understand. I mean, without going too deeply into the stories, there's been times being chased by a lot of people, knives, stuff like that, weapons, whatever. And I didn't originally think it was because of just racism. It was that thing of it was me. Yeah. If you know what I mean. So bringing it to my parents' door, I used to think, why? If I wasn't here, then they wouldn't get that. Do you know what I mean? That's why all that stuff.
There's a famous quote in Game of Thrones, isn't there, which it seems pertinent here, Paz. It's Tyrion when he's speaking to Jon Snow, isn't it? And he hates being called a bastard by everyone. And Tyrion says to him, "Let me give you some advice, bastard. Never forget what you are. The rest of the world will not. Wear it like an armour, and it can never be used to hurt you." Yeah. So it's about embracing who you are and using it as a strength rather than seeing it as a weakness, isn't it? Recontextualising it.
And that's why I know we were joking about the football last time, but that is part of the reason why I've always, since I was a kid, always been proud of my roots, and that I've not turned around and said I'm English just because of the sense of that I was getting hate for not being English. If that makes sense. So that's why I've always been proud of where my bloodline's from.
I wasn't joking around. You haven't qualified for the World Cup.
Well, they'll do it next time. They'll win it next time. That'll be all right.
At least you haven't got to watch England play turgid football in the way you can if you want. I've
already seen them when we beat them. But.
Right, where have we got
anyway,
to?
Back to the song. When I did nothing but try live right, dark eyes, dark hair, olive skin, things I couldn't change like I'd bring, a target above my head, as I said I couldn't win. Before I died I tried writing a song and into life I spring. We've discussed before, haven't we? The great power of music is that it can make you feel less alone in the world, whether it's listening to another song from an artist maybe 10,000 miles away who's perfectly speaking what's in your head, or you getting to put songs out there in the hope that someone else might hear it one day and it will likewise have the same impact on them as it did to you when you were listening to songs. So I guess those lines are about you finding solace and warmth in other music. Therapeutic. It was, the therapy of music. It was that thing of, there was a time when I literally said, that's it, I'm because I know people don't know, but there's been several times that I was going to end it, and there was this time where I was just saying, that's it, I'm doing it. I said to myself, what would I like to do before I did that? And I literally thought, I don't know why, I just thought, try write a song, and that's where it started. That's how
It made you feel less alone in the world, didn't it?
it took a shot. The bulk
Like
of
a
my
release
shoulders.
valve, isn't it? Yeah, like getting out what she had, writing it down, and then expressing it out there for other people to hear. And
That's what I would always recommend to people who are going through a lot of stuff, things in their lives. It's hard if you keep it in. The best thing to do, even if it's not in song, just write it down. I think I've said to you before from off air, but even if someone hurts you, you can hurt them in a song. That's it. Get it off your chest. That's it. Done. It doesn't matter what you do to them in the song. You don't need to go and do it and ruin your life and go to prison.
Yeah. And then we've got the chorus, of course. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife.
Yes.
When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a motherfucking knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life.
Yep.
Okay, and verse 2 continues as Monday. This is your cue to read.
Explain quickly that it wasn't me inciting violence just to incite violence. It is the point of the mic is my weapon, basically.
So this was the scene in Harry Potter when Harry had pissed off.
I don't know. I haven't seen Harry Potter. So,
and you're imagining being Harry Potter and threatening that ginger kid, aren't you?
All I know is he's a wizard, and he's just say
he's a wizard, Harry. Right, verse 2.
All the pain and hurt didn't disappear, but the blame and shame became crystal clear. My mind opened beyond the life I feared. My words became weapons I was preparing here. As I just stated, like in the chorus.
Yeah.
My world was changing, given a meaning. The world off my shoulders no longer leaning. In music, I'm a human being who's believing. It's become my life. It's where I leave you screaming.
Well, that just goes on to what we were just discussing, wasn't it? The way that music impacted you in a positive way, and it gave you an outlet and a release for your pain and expressing what was going on internally. Carry on.
Beat you so bad you won't ever remember who beat you. Knocking you so far
back. It was
back.
Harry Potter.
You no longer exist too. Problem in my mind, you're removed, you're who. When the shots hit deep, you won't make it through.
Oh,
you trying to beat me, but I will beat you with my words. Then knocking you so far back, so like you no longer exist. You know, no longer in my mind. I've got you out of my mind. Your way doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As I say, problem in my mind. You're removed. You're who. When the shots hit deep, you won't make it through. Interesting
line there. Being negative is easy. The opposite is hard. I think that's very pertinent. It's easier to destroy than it is to create, as they famously say.
Yeah.
To stay positive and create things and be a beacon of light in the world is much harder than going around shooting everything down with negativity, isn't it? Mm-hmm. To keep on living or life discard, you keep on giving, but keep your guard. Be positive and strong, deal with your own life's cards. That's you saying you're making a choice to be positive, even though you are fully aware and embrace the negative impacts of life, yes?
Yeah, it's taking the negative spin. Like, it doesn't matter how many things you go through, you need to take it and try and spin it some way to be in your favour.
Yeah.
So
context, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's that thing of just because one person's treated you bad, don't go round treating other people bad because you're just then doing what they do type thing. So try and be positive. Be
paying
strong.
it on in a negative. Yeah.
If you're being positive and you're strong and someone is not replicating that back to you, then move on from them.
Absolutely.
Don't need them.
Yep. And then we've got the chorus. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife.
That's it.
Yeah. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a knife. When I pull the mic's head off, it's a fucking knife. Say the wrong thing, motherfucker, it's your life. Verse 3, we repeat the chorus for the first line, don't we? When I pull the mic's head off, out pops a knife.
Yep.
And then we go on, Paz. When I spit into the mic, my life feels alright. Mm-hmm. My words combine with sound, bringing day to night. You heard mine, we're bound to see the light. That reminds me of that line in True Detective, actually. Have you seen True Detective?
No.
At the end there, there's a really cool scene when he says he likes to look up at the stars at night and imagine all the possibilities out there. And then one of them goes to him, if you'd ask me, looks like the dark's winning. The main guy goes, nah, once there was only darkness, now you see millions of stars. If you ask me, the light's winning. Yeah. Nice line about that. So you're bringing brightness to where there was dark before. Okay, I've obviously paraphrased that scene, but check out on YouTube. It's the last scene of True Detective season 1. Okay. Beautiful scene with Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. Mm-hmm. Where do we get to? We learn more from mistakes than when we get something right. Absolutely true. When it comes to pricks, their parents made an oversight. That's being polite. The parents are a family overhyped. In a world brainwashed and no longer tight.
Mm-hmm.
Is that about inherited behaviours, is it?
Well, it's that, and it's generalisation in the sense of cultures and things like that. I mean, when I was growing up, say being in an Italian family, everyone's all tight and stuff. But I mean, it's just generally people seem to be more two-faced, shall we say? And yeah, I don't know. It's just the way of the world. In one line, put in the way of the world, how it is, and just saying it's not longer everyone's out for themselves rather than to be together. Yep. When the majority, as a whole, I know I'm going back into a political thing and going kind of off topic, but in the sense of the way the governments run us, and that we're the majority, yet we let the minority run us, type things. Anyway, that can go on something else.
Then we go on. Can't stand the majority of social media bullshit. I think you speak for everyone when you say that. Don't care if that makes me antisocial. Who'll quit? Ain't begging for approval from unknowns, anonymous writs. Beep. Followers. Ask Batman. Robin is a dick.
Fuck followers.
We just did.
And yeah.
What's that all about? Because I love Batman. What's Batman ever done to you?
Nothing about that. It's about, you know how everyone's all, follow me on these social media things. So I said, ask Batman, because Robin used to follow him round, and Robin's actual real name is Dick, isn't it?
Yeah.
There you go. Play on words.
And goes back to your joke at the beginning of the show today.
And that was part of the reason I was lining it up. But he knocked it down and he ruined it. But anyway, everyone.
Do you remember Robin's real name?
Dick.
Yeah, what?
Oh, I can't remember the other bit.
I'll kick in your eardrums through riding sound waves, thinking this shit's dumb until your brain caves. And then there's a contextual part that goes on there. What are you doing? You'll cry as I put you in a grave. And then you go, when you pull the Mac's head off, it's a knife.
Why did you miss that line? I don't understand.
That's a bit
the point of the... I'll make it if someone doesn't understand what I meant on that. Waving arms. Arms is in this another sense of weapons. Weapons are my words. Waving arms, because it's two deaf people. When I say two deaf people arguing, it's because they do sign language.
Yeah.
You understand? And if they're arguing, they're going to be more... So it's expressive. Waving arms, the sense of waving arms, but I don't mean actual waving arms.
Gotcha.
Understand? So
yeah,
that's it's just more wordplay and stuff like that.
When you pull the Mac's head up, it's a knife. And when I pull the Mac's head up. Yes. Yeah. So two refrains of the chorus, and then you've got, of course, Steve Irwin at the end.
Yeah.
Okay, if anyone's interested in checking out that track again, you can obviously listen back to this podcast, or you can find out BADS on YouTube. They have a YouTube channel called BADS Projects, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got BADS Projects and also Many More Productions, all as one word.
Many More.
Many More Productions is like all the tracks on there are my production. Like I made it as well as my lyrics.
Okay, gotcha.
And the other one is since I started, where I was even doing over other people's beats type thing. So,
okay, and that leads us on to our next track of the day. If you'd like to fire up the random song generator via the medium of your fingers tapping on my desk.
What song will we get?
Our next track is... What have we got, Paz?
It's Rock Superstar from
Harmar.
Cyprus Hill.
Wasn't it Harmar? Rock Superstar by Harmar?
No, Cypress Hill. Cypress Hill.
Cypress Hill. Insane in the membrane. So, if you'd like to prime that up on YouTube, everybody, this is...
There is two versions. It could be Rap Superstar if you wanted, but we'll do it for you. We'll do Rock.
Rock Superstar is it called, by Cypress Hill. Yeah. We'll speak to you on the other side.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was Rock Superstar from Cypress Hill, released in February 2000. And the genre has been put down as new metal and rap rock. Now, looking at the lyrics, I imagine this was in some response to the new metal scene that was ongoing at the time, because throughout the 90s, musicians had gone a lot more ethical, and they were moving away from the very themes that they talk about in this song, where the music was all about getting famous and doing drugs and shagging chicks and stuff, we spent the whole of the 90s trying to get away from that poodle rock in the 80s, and the musicians were more socially conscious and socially active and stuff. So I think this is what Cyprus Hill are talking about, maybe the poodle rock in the late 80s and stuff, because it doesn't really ring true from the rock scene which I grew up in and which I knew in the mid to late 90s and stuff. So it sort of talks about cliche. So if we start from the top there, Paz, what did you think of this one?
I mean, I like this. I mean, I like the Rap Superstar as well version.
Spoiler, they did a version about a rap superstar as well.
Yeah, because Cyprus Hill are rappers as well.
Yeah.
So, they kind of blur from rap to rock and type thing. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just talking at the beginning about it's basically on the whole track as well. It's that thing of people see the good stuff about being famous and they want to be famous, but there's more deep. It's a deeper thing. It's the journey to get there in the first place and things like that.
Absolutely. I mean, you say that people want to be the rock stars, but I can think of nothing worse than the lyrics that they're trying to ham up to say that people want to be this and want to be that, and that is, to me, is nothing about why I was ever into music for, and what all of my contemporary bands and what the bands I listened to and the bands, my friends' bands, they were never into being in rock bands just to get big houses and cars. They were in it for the creative endeavours, to create music, to, as we discussed earlier on in the piece here, to express what was going on in your head and to connect with other people around the world, make them feel less lonely, and form a community of musicians who are, as I say, more socially aware, more socially active and stuff like that. So music, to me, was never about wanting to get a big house. The spoiler for the lyrics here, big cars and being all the power that comes with it. It was just about expressing myself and getting out to as many people as possible and trying to connect with them.
A lot of people do look at it like that, and it's
a lot of people are idiots, Pat.
Yeah, I know, and it's that thing. It's saying it's like what I was saying in my one of the social media type of thing. People think, right, I want something where I don't have to work. I basically take pictures of myself and get paid for it, and that's it. And they want everything else.
Fame to be famous, isn't it? Yeah. Whereas they've got nothing. There's no skill or talent to fall back on. So when people do abandon them, and a lot of the lyrics about here say when the record label gets bored of them and throws them aside, they've got nothing to fall back on, which has always been a big criticism of boy bands and stuff, isn't it? They had their looks, but when they lost their looks and then people moved on to the next band, it was only the songwriters in the bands which were able to retreat into their shell, write some good songs and then come back. But if you haven't got any talent, if you're famous for not having any talent, you've got nothing to fall back on, have you?
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, when it opens up with just the talking side of things, it's saying about sharks and chameleons and stuff like that, and it's just basically saying about people that want to take, as I said, first of all, it's the people who want that side of things of the fame straight away. There's people who then, chameleons is in the copy type
copying
thing,
people, which would have been around the time of 2000, would have been all the new metal bands that were copying.
And it's all that in thing type thing as well when it comes to the music side of things. There's an in thing in a fashion or type thing, and that's there for like period of time, and then it goes and disappears, and there's a new one, and etc. etc. So as you said, it goes then into the chorus. You want to be a rock superstar, live large, big house, 5 cars. You're in charge, coming up in the world. And then it's don't trust nobody. Got to look over your shoulders constantly, because there's always people trying to make the money off you as well.
I just thought it was a lot of nonsense, to be honest. I get the impression they thought they were being really cutting and slamming and stuff, but that doesn't sit true with the music scene, which I know of at the time and stuff like that. And obviously that they were just playing up to cliches, which is how they thought it was, but it wasn't like that at all, really. Yeah, maybe in years gone by it was, but yeah, it wasn't the cutting diss piece that they thought it was, I don't think. So the only people they were targeting were the overblown idiots who were in it for the wrong reasons anyway, which everyone could see them a mile off. To be honest, I'm not going to go through all the lyrics because it's a load of nonsense. I didn't really like it. It's catchy enough. The hook, the chorus and stuff, the rapping themselves. I'm not going to criticise the technicals of it because it's Cyprus Hill. It's good. It's good rapping, but the message behind it just seems a bit throwaway to me. I mean, it's a bit. I can see what they're trying to do, but it wasn't as cutting and edgy as they thought it was. To be honest,
I mean, as I say, you don't like it. I like it. It's one of those things. I get where they're going. It's targeting the majority, basically. Yeah, in a sense.
I don't say don't get me wrong. I don't say it's not a good song. It is a good song. It's a catchy song. They say the rapping's good in the verses and the chorus is catchy. Cyprus Hill are masters of their trade. It's a good song, but it's just I think the themes behind it are a bit generic and I actually chilled with one of the members of Cyprus Hill. Did you?
Yeah.
Did he know that at the time or not?
No, he did know.
Oh, he did know at the time.
Yeah. I did go to America once and...
did he call you a limey bastard?
No, he didn't. No, no, the person that I went and stayed with and I was there with actually did all the websites and stuff for Cyprus Hill and was in contact with them and links with them. And one of the members I met a few times there while I was over there. But anyway,
so it's a good job. I didn't slag them off completely. I had a cap busted in my ass.
Oh, you would have, I'd make the phone call.
So just remember, Cyprus Hill guys, I did actually say that it was quite a good track, and I was quite impressed with it. Just didn't like the themes of the song, which seemed a bit obvious and a bit. I don't know. I had to put my thumb. I did. That isn't the musical world that I recognise from what they're trying to describe there, to be honest. And then there was a lot done towards moving away from that. The poodle rockers of the 80s, of the Guns N' Roses and your Skid Rows and all those kind of Kiss and bands like that. Yeah, they'd already been killed off by the grunge movement by then. So yeah, maybe it's a little reminder that we didn't want to go back to that because the new metal bands were a bit all about, chicks and money and cars and stuff. So maybe it's just a little reminder at the right time that don't take your eye off the ball. It's about the music, man. It's about the music, man. It's not about the trappings that come along with it. Yeah, and it's about the music. Men and women can make music, Paz. Men and women can make music.
Anything can make music.
Yes. He, she. We're not going down that route.
Animals make music.
Okay, we'll have to.
The old bird songs.
Yep. Yeah. Animals can make music as well. Okay, so the final track this week. So on the random song generator, what have we got, Paz? Fire up the fingers, old boy.
What song will we get?
We have got, it's from 1967.
Okay.
It's called White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane. I've never heard a Jefferson Airplane song in my life, so it'd be interesting to see what we've got with this one. It got to number 8 in the UK charts in 1967, Jefferson Airplane. So if you want to prime it up on your YouTube or Spotify, whatever you listen to music on, folks. So the song is White Rabbit by the band Jefferson Airplane.
Unfortunately, the following track cannot be played. Search for it and see what you think.
And that was White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, released in June 1967. Psychedelic rock genre, as you will have heard from those that listen along to the song. It starts out with a marching band, doesn't it? Like a marching drum kind of thing. Yeah. And it's got, it's nice, some nice lyrics. What were your initial thoughts of that then, Paz?
I like this song, as I was saying to you off air. It's kind of trippy. I'm pretty sure it's been in quite a few films. I was saying, I think one may be Pulp Fiction, but I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I know it was in quite a few films. I like the song overall anyway. From the lyrics, as I said to you, it sounds like it's going through like Alice in Wonderland type stuff, and obviously taking drugs.
Well, looking at the Wikipedia page, it was actually in an episode of Stranger Things, so I'm surprised it hasn't done better, judging by what's happened to Kate Bush recently and the Metallica song. So
but they didn't
maybe
repeat it probably.
Maybe this has had a recent resurgence. It was also used in the trailer for the film The Matrix Resurrections.
Okay.
That might be where you saw it. In September 2022, an a cappella version of the song became Began being played at WWE live events during the commercial breaks. Are you a WWE fan?
No.
Oh, so that's not where you heard it then.
No, I've heard it a long time ago.
Okay.
Long time ago. I knew it. Yeah.
Okay. So the first verse: one pill makes you larger, and one pill makes you small. Do you think that's to do with drugs or Viagra?
Well, it could be Viagra, but I don't think Viagra was back then.
Okay.
But I'd say, it's down to the drugs. And obviously, when she goes on to, and the ones that mother gives you don't do anything at all. That's
maybe
probably
not
like paracetamol and stuff like that.
Maybe not Viagra. Then your mum's not going to be giving you any Viagra.
She ain't going to be giving you the old ecstasy.
No. And then it's got Go Ask Alice when she's 10 feet tall. Now, you got some imagery from Alice in Wonderland, didn't you?
I was thinking Alice in Wonderland because of that. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if I'm remembering it right, but she does go really tall and really small as well.
Right. And you were actually proved right, weren't you? And then when we got to the next verse here, because there's more imagery about Alice in Wonderland, which should fit nicely as you're about to read out for me, Paz.
Okay, I'll read it out. And if you go chasing rabbits and you know you're gonna fall, tell 'em a hookah smoking caterpillar has given you the call. Call Alice when she was just small.
Alice? Who the fuck is Alice? Then we go on to when the men on the chessboard get up and tell you where to go and you've just had some kind of mushroom and your mind is moving low. Go ask Alice, I think she'll know. When logic and proportion have fallen sloppy dead and the white king is talking backwards and the red queen's off with her head. Remember what the dormouse said. Feed your head. Feed your head. Yeah. Feed your head. Lovely. As she repeats at the end there.
That's it, yeah.
And you know who the she is that I'm referring to? Sure. Grace Slick is the singer in that band. Okay, and so let's have a look at the composition of this song. So White Rabbit is one of Grace Slick's earliest songs. Written in December 1965, it uses imagery found in the fantasy works of Lewis Carroll's 1865 novel Alice in Wonderland.
There you go, mate.
And its 1871 sequel, which you'll know, of course, was...
Alice in Wonderland 2.
No, Through the Looking Glass. The imagery such as changing size after taking pills and the drinking of unknown liquids. Slick wrote the lyrics first, then composed the music at a red upright piano she had bought for $50, which had 8 or 10 keys missing.
Yeah, so it could have been a completely different song.
Slick said, that was okay though, because I could hear in my head the notes that weren't there. Moving between major chords for the verses and choruses. She said the music was heavily influenced by Miles Davis's 1960 album Sketches of Spain. She later said writing weird stuff about Alice backed by a dark Spanish marching band was in step with what was going on in San Francisco at the time. We were all trying to get as far away from the expected as possible. Slick said the composition was supposed to be a slap to parents who read their children such novels and then wondered why their children later used drugs. She later commented that all fairy tales read to little girls have a Prince Charming who comes along and saves them, but Alice did not. She was on her own in a very strange place, but she kept on going and followed her curiosity. That's the White Rabbit. A lot of women could have taken a message from that story about how you can push your own agenda. The line "feed your head" about at the end is about reading, as well as psychedelics feeding your head by paying attention. Read some books, pay some attention, man. There you go. A lot of the characters featured in the song are from that novel too, including the Hurrah, the hookah smoking caterpillar, the White Knight, the Red Queen, and the Dormouse. There you go.
That's all right.
Slick reportedly wrote the song after an intense acid trip. I think so, actually, looking at it there. But yeah, it's a decent song. I enjoyed that. I think I've heard it before on occasion. But yeah, I enjoyed that song. It was all right. How did it get on the charts? It got to number 1 in Canada, which is what you want, isn't it, from a song? It got to number 8 in the US Billboard charts. UK singles charts bombed. Oh, it's re-released in 1987. Wonder what happened at the time. It got to number 94.
Probably a film.
Yeah, maybe some kind of film. But it got to number 94. Yeah, so psychedelic song written on acid. That was White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane. Quite rightly a classic, do you reckon? Does it deserve its place in the Hall of Fame?
I think it's one of those that people would know the song more than they would know the name of the song, if you know what I mean.
Is that your first experience of Jefferson Airplane?
I think so. I don't know.
Could be, couldn't be. Okay, and that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. It's been a different podcast, hasn't it, with your gag that fell on deaf ears at the beginning?
You ruined the gag, then you ruined my song.
I didn't realise there was a thread. It was like an episode of, I don't know, something with a thread that goes throughout the whole of the episode. And I'd ruined
some planning going on.
Your gag about Batman and Dick Grayson, who you'll of course remember was got the dick that was Robin in Batman. No, so that was episode 5 of Lyrical Iracle, and we look forward to your feedback on Paz's song, which we debuted, or was it already out?
It was already out.
It's already out. Right. We debuted it in podcast terms, didn't we?
Yeah.
So that's out there. If you'd like to remind people again where they can go if they want to check out some more of your stuff, Paz.
If you go to YouTube as one word, you can type BADS Projects, BADS Projects.
Yeah.
Or Many More Productions as one word. Or if you want, you can download for free all the tracks and albums at bads.bandcamp.com.
Okay, and where does Harry Potter come into all this again?
Harry's been downloading my music forever.
Yeah, Harry Potter's a big fan, as is Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
I don't know any other characters from that film. Hagar or something. Was there some big guy, Robbie Coltrane?
I don't know.
You've taken your whole band name from him and you don't know anything about the damn thing. You should sue him, actually, if they've taken this snake thing.
Well, it was an actual legendary snake.
Yeah,
that's where they got it from.
Cheating bastards, aren't they?
Bastards.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the Harry Potter films?
No. Well, I've seen a little bit.
Is this why? Because you're pissed off that they stole your mythical snake?
Yeah. So I no longer want to see it.
So if you want to find out more about Paz's mythical snake, ask the ladies around Aylesbury. Boom. Okay, and we'll speak to you next time on Lyrical Iracle. And our catchphrase at the end, as ever, is...
I can't remember what you said. What did you say?
Cue end credits.
Iracle.